Good morning, everyone. This is Henry from A STEM Tutoring, once again attempting to serve as your wise old sensei. In this video, I'd like to discuss a topic in calculus for those of you who are a little more advanced in math, how to find the derivative of a certain trigonometric function, which you will learn very well today. So let's go to the whiteboard. So suppose we want to find the derivative of the tangent of x. We want to differentiate with respect to the variable x. Now, this is a common enough formula that this formula will be shown in any textbook, and you can memorize it from the textbook. But hopefully, by understanding where the formula comes from, it will be easier for you to remember the formula when you need it. So, tan of x is the same as sine of x over cosine of x, and we want to find the derivative with respect to the variable x. We can use the quotient rule here because it's the quotient of sine and cosine. The way that I always remember the quotient rule is bottom d top minus top d bottom over bottom squared. So let me type that, because for those of you who are very visual like I am, so I remember it as bottom derivative of top minus top. Let me put a multiplication sign here to indicate they're being multiplied, minus top d bottom. And let's extend this. And then the whole thing divided by the square of the bottom. So this is how I remember the quotient rule. You can make up your own mnemonic, but hopefully this helps you. Bottom d top minus top d bottom over bottom squared. So the bottom is cosine. The derivative of the top, sine, is also cosine. So the first term is cosine x times cosine x. The bottom times the derivative of the top minus top d bottom. The top is sine of x. The derivative of cosine of x is negative sine. So d bottom, the derivative of the bottom is negative sine of x. All divided by bottom squared, cosine squared x. So now let's evaluate and simplify. Cosine times cosine is cosine squared x. Negative sine times negative sine, and negative times a negative is a positive. So we have a plus sine squared x. You may recall that whenever you multiply or divide two quantities, if the signs are the same, the result is a positive. If the signs are different, the result is a negative. And all divide by cosine squared x. If you remember the Pythagorean identity for trigonometry, cosine squared x plus sine squared x is always 1. So now we have 1 over cosine squared x. But 1 over cosine is the same as secant. So we have secant squared x. So therefore, the derivative of tan x equals secant squared x. Okay. Yeah. There's a toddler in the background here, so I will not say the obscene mnemonic that I developed to help memorize this. But another day, I will share a obscene and offensive memory mnemonic that is sufficiently obscene and offensive that it will make it very easy for you to memorize this formula. But just know for now that this was a derivation of the formula for the derivative of tan of x. The derivative of tan x is secant squared x. And we arrived at this result by applying the quotient rule to sine x over cosine x because tangent is sine over cosine. And then simplifying and applying the Pythagorean identity right here. to get 1 over cosine squared x, which equals secant squared x. This concludes this particular video lesson about calculus. If you'd like to learn more, I am available for hire as a private tutor. You can see my contact information right there in red. You can see my website, my email, all right there, right here. And as a thank you for watching all the way to the end of this lesson, when you contact me, please mention the code FREEBOOK. And at our first meeting, I will give you a free copy of my book, Smart Suggestions for Student Success. This book normally retails for $10 on the Barnes & Noble website. I wrote this book in an effort to share wisdom and advice to help students succeed in school, in work, and in life. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.